13 miles per 70% chance of snow. Skies again will be cloudy, and we'll have a low temperature down to around 31 degrees. Winds will be out of the west 10 to 13 miles per hour. For KTUI, I'm Keith Maloney.
KTUI time is 10:05, and the current temperature is 33 degrees. I'm Sam Scott for KTUI.
Go ahead.
Hey, good morning and welcome back. Here we are live at the White Mule Winery on the high plains of Gasconade County, and it's 38 degrees here at airtime at the winery, and we have a cloudy sky here this morning. Our snow remnants on the high plains here are gone. When we had a pretty good snow here yesterday, of course the ground temperature was warm enough, but on the footprint that we are, there's some still snow around in some places on some trees. It just kind of depends on where it is and maybe how much they had initially, but the air current and the thermals and those particular things, this time of the year, there's a lot of fluctuation in where it's air moving and where it's not, and how the thermals come up from the low areas to the higher areas. So it was, I'm sure that one time in the taller grass, that there was a couple inches there, because I thought, well, I went and fed some hay yesterday. Not that they would have had to have it, but heifers breeding and those things, wanted to make sure their needs were met. But anyway, it's gone. Maybe a few days late, for those that wanted it for Christmas, but this morning most is gone, and I'm not sure if it's going to return or not. Did you look, Gracie? Are we going to have snow yet this week, or is it over with?
I think there's maybe a chance for Friday, but I don't know if that's a certain thing or not.
And welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
You've been gone for how many months now? And
7 weeks. Not too long.
7 weeks. Gosh, that's a long vacation, So
It was needed.
Well, Millie is at home. I held her this
She's
morning,
at Grandma's,
and she was getting ready to eat when I left, and she was, when she's
Let
ready
me know
to eat, she's
she's
ready to
hungry.
eat.
She is.
That's about the only time I hear anything out of her.
She's a schlotic.
Well, she has that gene in her.
Yes,
There's
she does.
no question about it. But we're blessed and good to have you back here, just in time for New Year's.
That's right.
Because we'll
Be a busy
need
day.
you, without a doubt. We trust that you all had a wonderful, joyous Christmas, and maybe you're like us, that we're not done celebrating Christmas yet. We've got the Schlottick siblings' Christmas is here tonight. So always look forward to those meetings. Our immediate family are done, unless Gracie got more presents for me. Do you?
Not anymore for you, no.
Not any more presents for me. So we'll do whatever. But hey, we trust you had a Merry Christmas and a New Year coming up. So enjoy the week. A lot of schools are closed. A lot of people are off from work this week. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your family, and spend a little time to reflect on where you are and maybe what you want to get done and what your goals are in the year ahead. A few of my observations here for this year. It has been a heck of a year in regard to the global geopolitics, economics, things that have happened and are happening. It's not all good. We can certainly find some crumbs of good things, that are happening, across the world. But, the political front is troublesome to a big degree. And, we have, of course, the wars going on in Russia and Ukraine, which seems to be, at a stalemate at this juncture. How much more we're going to help them as far as the U.S. money is somewhat in question. Nothing's been done in regard to that. Congress has failed to get anything reasonable done, before they went home on Christmas vacation. And we are going into a time that things have to get done here shortly in regard to the budget, in regard to, getting, a budget put together and paying our bills. So that extension is running close. And of course, we got the, on the southern front, we have a whole stream of people coming into this country because we don't have a policy, in regard to what we do with illegal immigration. And as much as I hope these particular things will be resolved, and there's things on the table right now, I'm skeptical. I hate to say that, but it just, we lack leadership in Washington, D.C. We lack leadership on both sides, and we lack a shared vision in regard to what we have and need to be done. So, until we can kind of do that, there's not the political will to take on. I don't think, I hope I'm wrong, but it would be a little benefit, I think, to, the Republican Party at this juncture to sign an agreement to get a permanent or a long-lasting immigration policy. Biden has totally upended, the policies that Trump has did, and everybody is seeing the that play out, and that's absolutely a lack of vision and a lack of understanding on what it is and what it could be. So, anyway, I don't want to go on, but I'm still very optimistic that we have to be in the sharp rows. I think we're in the sharp rows, I hope, in regard to world conflict. We're seeing some changes, if you can look at the tea leaves, in regard to conservative values, maybe winning out. But, that said, we still have to have leadership in those positions to make that happen. And, at this point, I'm not sure that we have it, but we'll work towards that during the election this year. But let's talk about something very positive that I want to talk about, and have Mr. Nix, Shane Nix is with us today, who's, been here several times before, and get to spend time with Shane and his wonderful family at church. Shane kind of grew up with Woody, and got to spend time with him, good quality time with him when him and Woody and Gus were growing up, and he has went on to great opportunity, working for Waymar Seeds out of Muscuda, Illinois, who, is the owner of that, grew up right there over that hill,
Yeah, couldn't get too much closer. What, probably 2-3 miles? Up
Yeah,
the
we joined, farming, I'm saying to some degree, pastures and things, but your company did well and is doing well. Dale has put together quite a team, in regard to genetic, crops, and corn and wheat and those particular things, and it driving the world, Shane. All I can say is that we're going to talk about those particular things. But to start off with, I read last night, where in the 40s the national average in the 40s was around 28 to 30 bushel per acre, and somewhat better in the 70s, maybe 60 bushel average, but just in in my lifetime, it 5 times, and I don't know that it's going to hit 200 bushel average this year, but it ain't going to be too far off. Nationwide, I think the last good number we got was 2020 or 21, when they average was 177 bushel per acre.
Yeah.
So what a great thing. I mean, we talk about productivity all the time in the economy, but who has been better at that than agriculture and farmers?
Yeah, I was kind of going back. You were talking there about what its yields have been over the past, and I wish I would have looked it up if I would have thought about it before I came on. But I had a newspaper clipping somebody gave me of my grandpa. It was probably 70s or 80s. Might have been even before that. But it was him and a couple other people. I don't know if the fair gave it out or Gasconade Extension, but it was 100 bushel corn. That was, praising 100 bushel corn and how big of a feat that was. And him and a couple other guys in the county hit over 100 bushel that year, and that was just a huge thing. And now we're, people are shooting for that on wheat, and 100 bushel corn would be a disaster. So it's crazy where things have came.
Well, you grew up on a farm that I know very well, because I got that, and I am, my sympathy to losing your grandma recently, and my apologies for your family, because I appreciated her very, very much. Didn't make it to the wake or didn't make it to the funeral, but what a great person. She was a Sult's house, from home, and I think actually a little bit akin, if you go back far enough, with my mom. We're all related.
Could be, yeah.
It's all related, but a very prominent family. You go past your home place yet today. Not everybody had a brick barn, what I'm saying?
Yep.
And, she married another neighbor over here, Nick's, and he was the twin, and they did very, very well, put together probably one of the largest farms in our area, in Gasconade County, and they did it all. They had crops and, a fair amount of acres that they continued to build, and your dad did. But they were one of the prominent people, and you grew up. I mean, one of the farmers, I'm saying, that did it all. So you were. That's a privilege to be able to be around that, no doubt.
Yeah, I think anybody that can grow up on a farm is privileged. That's get to learn about working hard and seeing different things of how life really works behind the scenes, and you talk to people that didn't have that privilege. They they might know where the food comes from, but they might not know how other things work that you just take for granted that everybody knows.
People talk with me all the time about, and we are privileged, and we are blessed and fortunate, there's no question, but I don't think of very many people, unless they do it, really understands the oil and the grease and the gears of farming.
Yeah.
And what it really takes to keep the cogs going all the way through and through. There's a lot of moving parts, so to speak, in agriculture.
It can look pretty on paper, and definitely when you get to big crop country and you see a lot of newer equipment, and it's shiny and it's big and it looks nice, but even there, there's a lot of things that break down, and people that got to fix it know how to fix it, order the parts in, make the right decision whether you're going to spray your crops with something that spend money in season to save your crop or help your crop, or you're going to let it ride because the weather's been bad. Or there's a lot of decisions people make. People making those decisions are probably having sleepless nights, and it's and then you get to the livestock side of it, and it's like you said, then you see the real dirty side of like physically dirty, as far as you're going to get.
Then you got either 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 different animals that you're dealing with, or and each of those are different, and the diseases and issues that are there, their environment, are all tremendously important. But you grew up here, in agriculture, but what you're doing now, you're exposed to a whole nother plane of agriculture out here, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know what you guys farmed, a couple of thousand acres or whatever it was at any given time, but you're probably dealing with people that do, you know, 5 times that or 10 times, you know what I'm saying? Some.
Yeah, so I get to at least see how you know, bigger operations work, and just see, like I said, so I work for Waymeyers, as you mentioned, and we handle, you know, Waymeyers really has 3 businesses in one. So you have their seed production component, which was their original business, where they, you know, Dale grew up down the road here and eventually got married and moved to Illinois and started a seed company. And
Went to Mizzou, right?
yeah, went to Mizzou first, managed their foundation seed program, and then they, at one point in time, he moved back to Illinois. I think one of his people they went to church with in Illinois, when they went there, had an opportunity to kind of work with the guy that was retiring farming, and took over that farm and started a seed business. And the original business was, you know, we grow seed, or grow, you know, wheat seed was the
Wheat
first
seed,
one.
right? Yeah.
And then they would, you know, clean it and bag it and treat it for a different brand. It wasn't their own wheat brand. And they still do that to some degree. They do production for soybeans for other brands. That's not what they sell, but they also produce stuff they do sell. Then they have the seed sales parts of it, which they have AgriMax, which is one side of it we'll get to, and then there's the corn and bean side, which is AgVenture, and that's a network of other independent seed companies like Waymeyers across the U.S. So through that and through their AgriMax, which is their own personal wheat brand, I've got to work and meet a lot of larger farmers and more highly concentrated row crop farmers as well. You know, you get to where we're at, you see more cattle country and timber than you do crops. So to your original point there with that, I've got to see a lot of how bigger crop farmers work and run, and what, you know, they try to do different times of year while guys down here are working on cattle. And just it's neat to see, not that one way is right or wrong, but just to see things different. And
But, you know, and logistics, Shane, play an awful lot to do with how big you can be. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at our field size around here, you know, and you just look at where we are, there's a limit to how much acreage you can cover. When you go to Illinois or Iowa or a lot of those bigger areas, you know, they can have a lot bigger planters, you know what I'm saying? They can spend more field time, because a lot of times it's contiguous, you know what I'm saying? And they got to move around for a lot of them too that rent. But, you know, a lot of times there's, you know, 10,000 acres in one particular area that those guys are farming. Well, they're absolutely going to be more efficient, you know what I'm saying? And that hampers us. Plus the soil, like, you know, if you go in like northern Iowa and kind of come down the Mississippi into Illinois, and you look at where the best ground and where the highest production is, it's centered in northern Illinois, you know what I'm saying, and then up Minnesota, you know,
up to Iowa, of course,
up to central Iowa, and you know, it's a game changer because the soil is so good. And they get the moisture, you know what I'm saying? Or the soil retains the moisture they get.
That's a better way to put it.
Is that what it is?
They might not get more, but they keep more in their soil. They got more organic matter and just deeper topsoil. You know, our topsoil might be inches deep. They might have feet, you know, of good topsoil. And that makes, you know, a world of difference. And you did a good job at recapping the year, you know, that we just had, you know, as we get to the end of the year. Well, on the ag side of the things, basically, no matter where you were in the Corn Belt, you were pretty much in a drought. So,
but our yields is still, technology, you know what I'm saying, has still, I mean, it ain't going to be a record-breaking year by no means, but pretty good as the average is concerned, you know what I'm saying, because of the genetics, you know, because of technology, I think, you know, it's going to be there.
yeah, I don't remember what the national yield is pegged to end up at, but locally, I mean, there was
Terrible.
some bad stuff. But on a national scale, even parts of Illinois, and people I talked to through Waymeyers or AgVenture, they were screaming drought all year long, and they were. You could look on the drought monitor, and they caught maybe not a lot of rain, but just enough at the right time where some places were having, well above average yields, in a still considered abnormally dry on the drought monitor, just crazy where things have gained, whether it's drought technology, or genetics in the corn, or if it's better management or better feeding of nutrition.
All of the above.
Yeah, little bit of all of it, but
Well, and even here, those people, even though it wasn't a good year, it still surprised a lot of people at harvest time how much grain was out here. Not categorically. There's some that virtually didn't have anything, but a lot of people that I've talked to were surprised. You know what I'm saying? And you got to look at the price playing a determination. You know what I'm saying in regard to what it is, and that indicates that there's a good amount of grain out there. You know what I'm saying? Because corn has come off $1.25 a bushel maybe in the past eight this year.
yeah. So I actually pulled this up. So last year, December of 2022. Now this isn't including local basis. I think this is a national price.
Right.
Corn was $6.58 in December of 22. Currently, this was from October. It was $4.93. I think it's a hair. It might be a hair lower than that. But and then 2021 was $5.47. So we're kind of below the last 2 years.
We are
of corn prices, and beans are a similar story. In 22, this says it was $14.40 nationally in December, and then in 2023, it says
What was it in that? What did you say?
$14.40
Okay.
a bushel, and then in 2021 it was $12.50, and I think we're just slightly above that now. So it's definitely came off the high of the last 3 years.
Yeah, and that's significant, Shane. I mean, when we're talking about a couple hundred bushel to the acre at $1.50 a bushel, that's $300 an acre, less income. You know what I'm saying, off of corn.
Yep.
And that's huge. That's it's big. So.
Yeah, now something that's going to help a little bit this year is fertilizer's down. It's not.
Right.
It's
Input.
down. Depends on what element you're talking about, but 10 to 20, 30% year over year, which is a significant help.
And the problem with fertilizer, though, is transportation logistics, because the rivers are so low. You know what I'm saying? Or that had been an issue.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of that from all over the world, and it comes up to Mississippi, but in the Missouri, but
Yeah.
their draft is so much that it's a big concern about will there be enough that away coming up. Which, I mean, if you just know anything about logistics, if you got to take semis, and if I remember right, I'm going to make this up, but maybe like on a train or a train load, maybe like 10 to 15 dump trucks, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But then on a barge, 100 dump trucks or something.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I used to have that number when I used to work.
We don't use it every day,
Yeah,
do
when I
we?
used to work for Cargill, I had that number, and it was interesting to see that how many loads. But yeah, a barge, how much more it can haul, and the price of it, because it's essentially just floating,
We got to pay for this high fuel somehow,
Yep. I was talking with the guy the other day, and we were kind of just, I don't know, projecting or guessing or whatever you want to call it. But
Analyzing
Yeah.
the data.
but typically every year in an election year, fuel goes down, and typically corn and fertilizer follow fuel to some degree. So we
Sure.
thought, well, maybe fertilizer will go down with fuel if that's the case. But
Commodities, have turned and are turning. There's no question. I mean, it seems like, either, in the global marketplace, the raw materials are, is high, and then those people that add value, to that commodity, their opportunity lessens, what I'm saying? And then, when commodity comes back down, as it looks like it is, then businesses and people that add value to that, have a better opportunity. But, as a whole, if you look at oil, has dropped, significantly, in the last year. But that is a huge driver of anything, or everything. And, it's a global, situation. And, I just question about the experts sometimes of, not that I'm against any of the green technology, but having it forced upon, what I'm saying, and subsidizing, there ought to be sensibilities in regard to that. And sometimes I don't think, there's any rails on that whatsoever. We're just going to we're going to spend money on the cars. We're going to spend, and we need more infrastructure, in my opinion, on electric, and it's coming. I don't deny any of that. But having policies that absolutely force that, it don't work. You know what I'm saying? Or I haven't seen it work. But anyway.
Well, what worries me on that front too is all the mentions of the solar farms. The big, where they're taking somewhat productive cropland and they're putting solar panels on it, and they're either getting leased at a really high price right now, or they're getting selling ground and converted to that right now for a high price. But it's just, if it doesn't work, or maybe it works well for 30, 40 years, but what's going to happen with all that material in on that ground, when it finally...
They're going to get a lot of sheep, Shade.
I guess.
Well, I mean, I mean, seriously, not seriously, but, they do run sheep underneath some of them solar farms, which, I don't get it. I really don't get it on, some of the flattest, best productive ground, and that's where they want to put it. That's close to infrastructure that exists, like transmission lines, and they don't want hilly stuff, they want it all the better, they don't, so I don't know, but it's coming.
Yeah, if it'd be, to me, if you'd build it on top of the roof of a building or somewhere, or some rocky old ground like this that's not
they don't like this.
Traditionally good for anything, that would make more sense. But when you see some of the best ground in the U.S. get converted to solar farms, that's...
I got a little south-facing hillside over here that's got cedars, rocks, and clay pits on it. Maybe put a couple acres of solar panels on that, but, they don't want to do that either, I'm sure. So, no, those are, those are things that energy is going to continue to drive an awful lot of things, in the global situation. Ethanol is a big contributor, what I'm saying, to, the energy side of things. But, as we go forward in that, there's changes occurring, what I'm saying, in that, particular situation also. But I seen the other day that in Europe, the European Union, they have already been carbon capturing, a whole lot. I don't know what percentage, but a lot of carbon, unspent fuel, what I'm saying, that is negative, what I'm saying. But they haven't concluded what they're going to do with it yet, So, we're not there, we're not there. Let's talk about something that that could be any subject we pick, that you know more than I know. But the technology, Shane, of what we're seeing at this point. One of your neighbors, we were sitting down, of course, I did business with you guys and also your neighbor, the Hazemans, and you both had, great things. And I wonder if this is where Dale kind of got some of his inkling, in regard to futuristic stuff and seed production. I'll ask him when I see him, but Clyde Nolan was talking one day about, they had a professor at Mizzou, and you probably did too, what I'm saying, but they were talking about what is the genetic potential of corn that can be produced in an acre. And their comment was, if everything was perfect, you know, and if you could get it all out and harvest it and get it in and you had perfect environment, that corn could produce up to 600 bushel. Is that right?
Yeah, and actually there's, the world record was broke again this year. It was irrigated. It was 600 and something bushels this year. You know, it's irrigated and they're treating it, you know, fungicide and
So it's here.
Oh yeah, it's already happened. I think the record was already 600 and something, and I shouldn't have this memorized, but it was already been broke. And actually, there was a guy last year in North Carolina that broke the non-irrigated record, so not controlling water. He broke that with an ag venture number. It was 459
Really?
an acre.
That's exciting, isn't it, when you go
Yeah.
out to sell?
Yeah.
Or service, you know?
Yeah, he came to our meeting. That's why it's stuck in my brain, because he came to our meeting this fall and talked about some of the things he was trying and doing. And, you know, he's no-tilling into standing cover crop. He's soil sampling on a weekly basis, and then getting his recommendations. And part of it is the technology of these drones.
Right.
He can go spray it, you know, that day with the drone, and then I think he waits 2 or 3 days, and then he takes his tissue test again, and then the next week he's spraying something with the drone. It's an every week process of
Kind of like
spray,
grapes.
test.
Oh, the grapes don't test the leaves very much. She just said, get out there, it's Thursday.
Yeah.
You ain't sprayed yet this week. You know, you got to go spray that fungicide or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of like.
But there's no measuring to it. It just, you know, when you put it in and you do it, you don't.
But you don't
have
test
to.
the grape itself to know what it's got or needs, or yeah.
But it is totally amazing, you know what I'm saying, that those particular things in the production that's available is the driver and the technology. I'm doing something that, I mean, it's old school for you and your crop farmers, but we've always soil tested here. You know, I'd go out through the 20 acres and pull, you know, 6 or 8 soil tests and, you know, blend them all together in that field to give me an average. Well, in the data world, averages don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean anything.
It
But
makes the good and the bad, and it looks like it's perfect.
yes, you know, they came out, MFA came out and had the program, you know, where they grid the whole field, you know, and every so many acres, you know, they take a soil test, and then they have the technology to spread what you need on each given acre, kind of. You know what I'm saying? It's all driven by GPS. It's not me out there spreading the fertilizer, mixing the gardeners. It's all GPS stuff, and you know, it is. And you know what the most amazing part to me was when we got done with this and start reading. I mean, there's a book that they read on just, we're doing 100 and some acres. You know what I'm saying, of primarily hay ground.
Yep.
And there's a whole book there, you know, that I can't analyze, but the computer can.
Yep.
You know, but they know on every acre not only how much P and K, you know what I'm saying, I need, but it also analyzes what amount of P and K is not being utilized, you know what I'm saying, in my current production. So, you know, every few years, just a simple example is that, you know, every 10 years or whatever, you know, even putting lime down, you just automatically 2 tons of the acre you put down. Well, you know, it doesn't need it on 90% of my soil, you know what I'm saying, because it's there. There's a few places that need it. But the biggest thing is that, yeah, your P is here, Charlie, and your K is here, but this percentage of that P and K, and a lot of that's coming from manure, you know, because I use turkey manure, and they said, you know, that's all good and proper, but you've got to get some gypsum in there to release that P and K that's already there. It blew my mind.
Yeah.
You know, they can measure that stuff, and I got to put other stuff down, you know what I'm saying, to get it utilized. It's unbelievable, Shane.
Yeah, and like you said, there's different ways. You can get too high on certain nutrients as well as too low, and sometimes in that case, you know, maybe you were high on something that was tying up your P and K, so they wanted your gypsum to flush out. I'm guessing it was high on magnesium or manganese, and I think gypsum's got sulfur in it, and that manganese attaches to the sulfur and gets flushed out. I think is what happens.
I remember your dad, though, you know, when I was doing business, they've been putting some sulfur in on some fields for a long time.
Yep.
You know, and of course, you know, when you have the propensity, what is that word? Propensity to the opportunity, okay, to, raise 200 bushel corn, at XYZ a bushel, $1,000 an acre, you can afford a lot more than, fertilization and technology than if you're going to produce 3 bales of
Hey,
fescue hay, per acre. But it's now to the point where that pays also,
Yeah.
or I'm hoping it does. The theory is because fertilizer has got so high. But where are we going with all this, Shane? This data is just mind-boggling.
yeah, like you said, even not too long ago, nobody was variable rating pasture ground. They might have been variable rating crop fields because that's where the money was at. But the pasture field, that was, I wouldn't say uncommon, but not very much of it was getting done that way.
And my neighbors have did, and here I'm putting a lot of turkey manure, and I'm blessed to have it because it is a reasonable source of P and K. But I think when they went in, and they're spreading the P and K down on what they're doing, I seen that their yields and their growth was superior to what my cheaper cost on fertilization can be. So technology pays, knowledge pays, and it's a tool that every farmer will gonna have to. Well, they don't have to embrace. You know what I'm saying? But to be competitive, they'll make changes in regard to how they do things.
Yeah, and looking at it on a multi-year level, if I know there was P and K was really high last year or the year before, maybe
Yeah.
both, and there was a lot of skipping going on. Well, now that the price is on its way down, I think there'll be several people trying to build back up or replenish some. Now, maybe not as much as if we would have had a good year, with the drought year and short on hay, things might be tighter that it doesn't get over applied, but.
But those are things, Shane, that is like putting money in the bank if you can manage that. Gussie he's right there, but we're investing an awful lot back, and we're blessed to have the ground, and we're putting an awful lot of money back in the ground. But once you get to a certain level, that's going to be sustainable for a long period of time. I mean, this year we got grass out there yet as dry as it was.
Yeah.
We still got cows on grass pretty well everywhere. We're running more cows to the acre, than we ever had, So, and if you continue to drive that, that is going to, and you get that soil to where you want it, that takes care of everybody, and we're doing things that we used to never do, like, getting them out of the woods and keeping them off the acre. That used to give you a month of feed if you could save them,
Keep them going.
But, all of those particular things are huge as we move forward. And, I can see us, we got a couple hundred cows and, let's say, 400 acres, of just grass, maybe a little bit more than that. But, when you start looking at that and you can get maybe 1 cow per acre, what I'm saying, down the road with different things, it's going to make a difference, and the efficiencies will be there, and the opportunity will be even greater. But you gotta know the data to move on.
Yeah, and like you said, if you have a drought year, or if we have another drought year, which we could, as dry as it's been or mild as it's been all winter, except for this past week, adding calcium and potassium will increase your drought stress for whether it's hay or corn or beans, whatever. So probably money well spent on that.
I'm glad I can just associate with people such as yourself. You know what I'm saying? That know the science behind that, because I don't take the time or have the discipline, you know what I'm saying, to really understand the connectivity on all of those nutrients, all those micronutrients, and the technology that can help you do things. So you're in the driver's seat, you know what I'm saying? You will, you're working for, a company that, sees the future, and, the artificial intelligence, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The drone, kind of situation where, can take a little drone and cover acres where you need to, and you don't have $20 an acre cost. You know what I'm saying? To go in there and fly over and use, like you would. I look at wheat for an example. You got to spray that. You got to do whatever. But everywhere you see them putting fertilizer and stuff on, you see the rows where the big things go down, and they're losing some there.
Yeah.
So the drones will make that unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely in this area, you get up to big crop country, wide open acres, they can get a helicopter or a plane in pretty easy to put on a fungicide or a micronutrient pack or something, whether you're talking wheat or corn or beans, doesn't matter. But you get a 13-acre patch in Gasconade County, well, nobody's going to come in with a helicopter for that patch, and if they were, you wouldn't be able to afford it. So, but this drones, you can get, if you got several small patches together, one guy can come in there with a drone and knock that out in an afternoon, and he can make money doing it, and you can make money.
You can
from
save
getting it
money and
done.
make money for what he can do.
So it works for everybody. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be more things like the drone that we never thought about that in the future come out and help us more.
Yeah, at the front on all sides that is growing, and I went to Iowa September, picked up some equipment or whatever, just run up there and came back. And I used to work up there and travel through that. I had never been through Iowa. Of course it was dry, and virtually by the middle or maybe the third week, I don't remember exactly, of September, 90% of the crops were out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or in the bin and safe, and because it was dry and they got it in, and they were done. Well, you got to have the technology to be able to get that much harvested in a short period of time, and then carry 200 bushel of corn away to your grain bins or whatever. But all of that has changed. They used to have to go 10 miles or 40 miles to town to take a semi-load, which wasted hours. Now it's on the farm storage, and they got 5 minutes. They can make a stick or whatever.
Yeah,
it
they
is.
got combines that are twice or 3 times bigger than they were several years. You're getting more off. You're getting more out of the field faster, and you're not going as far with it. And, yeah, it's incredible how quick, particularly in big, wide open country, how fast the crop can go out or get planted too. That's, it used to be a lot of spring crop reports and planting progress is here and the market's rallying because we're way behind getting planted. Well, they basically know it might get planted late, but it's hardly ever not going to get planted. Just as
Right.
because most farmers, even the really large ones, they have enough planter size and equipment to get it planted.
I'm 20 rows, maybe more than that. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. There's 24 row planters, 36 row planters, probably even larger.
36 row.
Yeah. It's no, you don't see that around here, but
No, but that's
yeah, several guys have multiple planters. One for corn.
of
one
course,
for beans,
yes,
so
and
they just need they don't need a full month of good weather. They just need a 2 or
Few
3
weeks.
2 or 3 5-day windows and get it done.
I don't know that wood cutting had that kind of technology.
No, well, there probably is.
Yeah, well, there is these wood machine, but Ben don't have one yet, does he?
Yeah.
Is that why Woody's having all those kids?
Yeah.
Well, Woody,
Cutting technology.
Yeah.
Ben's been cutting wood this week and using the dump truck. You know what I'm saying? And his kid there, Woody needs the same thing. I asked Will at Christmas. Said, "How's your wood pile?" He said, "It ain't very good."
It's gonna be cold.
So we'll need to get him some wood here, shortly. But anyway, it's all good. It's well, we're going to take a break here on KTUI 1560 AM, 94.1 FM, or maybe you're watching. We are back on live on Facebook. We're going to take a little break here, and Gracie is going to talk with us about what do we got. Is there any other things going on this week?
Kind of quiet this week within the next month or so, but we do have still serving here at the White Mule this weekend. We have our steaks. Friday night we have pork loin steaks, beef kebabs, grilled shrimp, country fried steak from 5 until 8:30. Saturday, pizza wings and hamburgers from noon until 5, and then our steak dinners after that. Sunday is all-you-can-eat pan-fried chicken and roast beef from 11 until 3:30. We are doing a New Year's Eve dinner, but we are full at the moment, but you're welcome to call and get on a waiting list if you would like. And we also have a wedding going on this weekend, so that's something new. But pretty excited
I thought all
about
along
that.
here about, I hope we don't get a foot of snow, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what you would do about parking, because you booked all this stuff, you know, but it'll all be fine. you
It
know.
might be a little sloppy, but
And we are going to offer prime rib this year too. I mean, it's going to be, you know, the thing about prime rib is that you can only do X, Y, Z, because once you cook it, you know, I mean, you can use it for other things, but, you know, at $17 a pound, you know what I'm saying, and 20 pound, you need to utilize it as prime rib fresh. You know what I'm saying? It's not a good secondary piece of meat.
You don't make that to a soup Monday morning?
No, I mean, you know, make good soup, we did that, you know, but, so, you know, we're gonna have, you know, a fair amount, you know what I'm saying, but it's hard to anticipate what, you know, what people will need or how long we'll have them, but if you get here, or if you got reservations early, I guarantee you'll have some, you know, if it gets later in the night, and we'll have steaks also, you know, we'll have our grilled steaks, but when you do several hundred, you know, meals, it's nice to have that alternative, because our grill ain't that big back there, you know, so anyway, prime rib will be there, and Gracie's cooking it, right?
you said you were in
Oh, I didn't say that. I said I would be in charge. I didn't say I would do it, but you know, anyway, so yeah, let us know if you're thinking about doing something yet, and we'll try to work you in if we can. We are full, but you know, New Year's is a flexible thing. That, you know, a lot of bigger groups sometimes, you know what I'm saying? The flu season is amongst us. Well, you know, we've had it where, you know, 10, 15, 20, as many 20 people, you know what I'm saying? Several of them get it, so nobody wants to go, you know what I'm saying? So they'll cancel out, so let us know and we'll work with you if you're interested in it or whatever, so. We got a music, you know, looking back will be here, and you know, they've been here numerous times. That's the Stumpy, Charlie Clontz and Stumpy's that someone that I grew up with. You know, they actually sang at Karen's wedding.
Karen's wedding.
Yeah, Karen
Yeah.
and Charlie's first wedding. Oh, well, it's all good. So make your plans now to do something on New Year's and celebrate it. Be careful out there, but we'll have all of the, you know, we'll take care of you. We got desserts and, you know, party hats, right? Music.
We'll be here to ring in the new
We'll
year.
have,
Yep.
if you want, bring your aunt. We don't have champagne, but you can bring a bottle in if you want.
We
you know.
have wine.
Oh, we do have one?
We have wine.
Oh, we have.
Charlie's like, we have a line in the winery.
We got wine here? Oh my God! I thought you said we have one champagne. I don't know.
No
I don't think
champagne.
it'll make it around to give a toast to everybody. But
Yeah.
you know, the crowd, Shane, has changed. Since you and Woody and Gussie was here,
Yeah.
you know, they would party way into the early morning. Not even on New Year's. You know, just any given time.
On
Yeah.
a Tuesday, any Tuesday.
But I guarantee you by 10:30, 11 o'clock, you know,
They'll be ringing in the
there
new
won't
year.
be a whole lot of people here bringing in the new year. It's just kind of how it is. I mean, there'll be, you know, maybe 100 or whatever, but we won't be packed at that time.
Yeah, I remember when you guys first opened, or a couple years after that, when we were all just getting out of college, and yeah, it was, people from that work from around here are like, you guys hang out at the winery? I'm like, yeah, we hang out at the winery because, go to most wineries, you don't stay open until midnight.
Yeah.
But of course,
Well, when you got the key.
I had the key. We would stay here, like you said, we'd stay here till
Till the dog
we
come
couldn't.
home.
Yeah, till we couldn't.
And we're blessed that everything was good there. But I mean, when you guys were all running around, you're going to college, yet or whatever, or right out of it, you had all those connections, and everybody was single at that point. So
Yeah.
you invited all the girls you could,
Probably good for business, Charlie.
It is great for business, and we don't have that no more, and that's
Different age.
That's good too, but I just look forward to the grandkids, and then Gracie will have to deal with it, and,
Yeah.
and
Remind her of what you had to put up with.
Right.
but God, life is good, Shane. It is just so good to be where we are and to, have the relationships that we have that are deep, and it just continues to expand, and that's all great.
Yep.
Do you have any New Year's resolutions that does your company, or do you, or you want to continue to I know you want to do the best for your customers always,
Yeah, no, I haven't came up with any. I sometimes do some, sometimes I don't. But I thought this year I might, but I hadn't put anything on paper yet. But it is New Year's is always a good time to look back at the year you had and what went well, what you want to do better. Almost like Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for, and whether that's in your life or your business or everything. But yeah, I know I've toyed with a few in the back of my mind, just more of
of course, personal things and whatever, but we are fortunate, what I'm saying, that we're very blessed with what we have, and quit asking for anything more other than grandkids, what I'm saying, and
You can
but
probably quit asking for those, huh?
well,
11
Not yet.
under 6 or 7, whatever.
that we'll see how that all goes, but anyway, it's fortunate, and resolutions don't have to be personal, what I'm saying. You can even though they're tied to that, but you can resolve about it anything, so
I think one tip is to make them. Don't try to make this giant New Year's goal and then it's daunting.
Exactly.
Make it something small every day. You check it off your list, and you'll maybe make it more than 2 weeks after New Year's with it.
I told Karen that, our ambition is to continue to be here and do what we do, but turn over more, what I'm saying, to people, because we can't do it all anymore. What I'm saying? We got too many things going, so, give Tracy more responsibility. But you've seen today, the kids are out. The high school kids and college kids are out there doing a good job for us, and it's challenging sometimes, but and it's expensive, for me sometimes. But some of those have been here 7 or 8 years already, and part of those are helping us make the wine, and learned a lot. What I'm saying, and those things which we know will pay dividends long term. So we're invested in our kids, and Dale is invested, in his personnel to a lot higher degree than we are.
Yeah, they've grown every year, added new employees, and expanded farther into Missouri and Illinois, and it's been blessed to be a part of it and work for a family-owned company, which is somewhat rare in today's day and age.
It's a small world, because his son and you and Gussie and Woody all spend time at Mizzou together too, and awesome, ain't it?
Yeah, running around with them when they were here or there, but yeah, it's kind of neat how life takes you different directions you don't necessarily know, and
Share my appreciation with the Waymar family,
I can do that.
and Happy New Year to them, and we might go down and see him in Florida someday.
Yeah, you should.
Okay, well, we'll be back next week. I'm not sure what's going on, but let's finish up this Christmas week, and we'll get into the new year, and it will be good. There will be great things happen. Be patient. Things have a way of going one way for a while and then the other, and I think the pendulum, as far as good things, are starting to swing. And we wish you a happy new year, and know that it will be. That said, God bless you. We'll look forward to 2024, and we'll be here to help monument some of the things that are happening, we hope. So, happy new year to you.